Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today I want to give you some novella recommendations. So if you are new here, I love novellas. In fact, October and December are my biggest months when it comes to a themed novella. I am a hoe for them, so you've been warned. But in this video, I really wanted to give you some novella recommendations that I think are packing a lot of story and are using the real estate that they've been given of under 200 pages. I do think that a well-developed romance, or at least a believable one with an entertaining plot, can be accomplished in 100 pages, 150 pages. I mean, these are gonna be short, but I want them to at least illustrate girth, okay? Quickies, but long strokes. That's what I'm after. All of these are novellas that I continue to go back to, I still think about, and again, I think that these authors accomplish giving me what I feel like is a complete story with the amount of pages that they've been given. And in the month of October, which is coming up quickly here, I've got a full, just dedicated TBR planned for novellas alone. I go into those really just like wanting to be entertained. I want to feel the theme, okay? And I don't have high expectations. So when one surprises me, it's a big deal. So I'm like, let me get this out before we get to shenanigans next month. Let's start. Long intro. Okay, the first that I have on here is Tangled Wires by Lillian Lark. I saw a brief. I'm in love and words reading this. This is an AI romance that I really enjoyed. I remember revisiting the same questions that I do while I'm in a serial killer romance, which is, can non-organic beings be capable of love? I really liked that the meditation was similar, and this is set in a world with technological advancements that have created medical marvels, could potentially create, you know, social horrors later down the line. But we're following Charlotte, and she is the daughter of the founder of one of the leading companies that has a monopoly on this entire industry. And her father didn't leave her the company. He left it to her brother. And so their relationship is very contentious, and she is very grumpy and prickly because she's also pining for him. And behind the scenes, we know that he's not really her brother. He is a creation of her father's. And that's also sort of grating for her because she was loyal to her father, dedicated her life's work to him. And Matthew is simply unmatched. I mean, he's everything that she can't be and what her father chose over her. So needless to say, I mean, this is a really heated workplace romance, and there is mutual pining going on. There is a twist in this book that completely had me gobsmacked, and I loved how it left no doubt that he is capable of love. This was very, very good. I absolutely loved it, and I think it's packing a lot of story, and it's told in a really compelling way in a short amount of pages. I mean, like, let's check the count here. This is only 174 pages. I think she did a great job with this. Next, I have The Red by Tiffany Reisz. I always say Rice or Reese, you know, but I really loved this because it's just so freaking entertaining, and it read like academic foreplay. The Red is an art gallery, and let's just check her name here because I'm not going to pretend. I think it's Mona. Mona inherits the red from her mother, and her mother's dying wish is that she keep it in the family. Like, this was sort of like a historical site as well. It was a hobnob for intellectuals and artists to share thought, and it almost read like speakeasy vibes for me. So it's a big deal culturally as well as personally for her to keep this, yet she is drowning in debt and needs to bend the knee to eminent domain until Malcolm comes walking into the gallery. I mean, he is popping flavor, dripping sauce. He is a silver-tongued, stylish silver fox, and he gives her an offer to save the red in exchange for my favorite, carte blanche, okay, and all access pass to her body, where he's very frank about being fond of the crop and mind games, but he promises her that she'll probably enjoy it, and he's going to be paying in priceless art so that she can pay off these debts. I mean, I love that every single chapter in this is named after a famous work. One, Manet's Ophelia, I won't give anything else away, but the lengths, okay, that Malcolm goes to recreate these artworks was the killer for me. This is very sensual and sexy. There's also a twist within it. It has a fantastical edge, and I highly recommend it, okay? This is a lot of fun. This is great. Next, I have another favorite, which is Craving Flight by Tamsen Parker, and I just still moved by the fact that I could relate to this heroine so much, yet I'm not Jewish. And I also really appreciated the jovial depiction of Orthodox Judaism in this, being that there are so many freaking films that portray it as religious horror and, you know, stifling for women. It was just, I feel like we need more of this. That was just so moving to me again. Now we're following Zipporah. She is a mature heroine in her late 30s. She's a recent divorcee, and her husband was cheating on her. Couldn't handle the fact that she needed a kink in the bedroom, and now she is practicing, which makes her sort of new within her community. She is not Jewish enough because she hasn't been practicing all of her life, and she's too Jewish for her family. I can really relate to that. She ends up in an arranged marriage with the local butcher, Elon, and it just so happens that he's a rigger. Okay, I mean, he's stringing up meat and everything else. So I just love how in this book, I mean, their romance really picks up because of kink, but that's not why they fall in love. I love how this is BDSM as healing, because she's just craving acceptance and love. She's under so much scrutiny. She's also a teacher, and she's treated as strange and weird because of her dress by her students and because of her lifestyle. And, you know, she's feeling out of place within the community that she is a part of for not getting things quite right, and also wanting to be a good wife to him that's traditional. So where this ends up in the end in terms of their love and devotion just got me, because it felt like a meditation on like marriage is also a choice, right? Like you choose to continue day in and day out to like go through the times that are difficult, and the way that she defends her marriage and her faith in this got me. I love this. I think it accomplishes a lot in a short amount of pages. Next, I have a novella that I will never forget. I continue to go back to, and that is A Lesson in Blackmail by Katie Robichaux. This is a Club Alias novella. I believe I started with this and then started from the beginning and continued throughout. This is a student-teacher romance, BDSM, with a younger hero and new dom. It has everything. I love that this is following Nate, who is like the king of his school, really the town. There's nothing that his parents aren't funding, and he could really have his pick of women. In fact, he already has, yet he is vexed and obsessed with the new librarian, Evie. He has just really enjoyed taunting and teasing her. She's very quiet, reserved, introverted. He calls her his little mouse. And this is really a dream job for her. There is great representation for OCD and anxiety in this book. And Nate can't quite put his finger on why he can't get her off of his mind. So he starts stalking her. And when he finds out that she frequents a BDSM club, he has to know more. And that's really where the romance begins. Again, I love the representation for anxiety in this, because Evie is really wound up pretty tight and just pushing through during the week up until she can have her moments where she relinquishes control through submission. And the teaching element within this book, within the series in general, Doc does therapy sessions with all members and there is education involved. And I just love that aspect of it, what they sort of walk through, how sexy it was, and how he really cares and protects her. It's just so sweet, and I loved this. It also really went there with the forbidden element. I mean, this was packing some story with like the third act conflicts and familial moments. Like, it really had a lot in here, and I absolutely love it. So I still think about this. I just plug like Club Alias as a series in general. Next, more recent read, okay? This was a debut novella for M.M Wakeford, Liberation. I loved the mindset centered around sexuality. It's very unconventional. There are polyamorous scenes in this between the hero and his best friends that he owns a business with, but there is no cheating. And in the beginning of this book, he is really restless because up until this point, he's really had it all. He's had the cheerleading and the support that he's needed within his life. He has fulfilling friendships that have just made it to that upper echelon in terms of connection and knowing, being that, you know, they do have steamy times together, or they did rather. And it just feels as though the best friends within his life are moving on to their next chapter, and he's kind of like waiting in this pattern and feeling unfulfilled in terms of romance. And the meet cute in this book is so freaking cute. It happens in a coffee shop and there's an argument about a pastry, but the amount of ground that they cover in terms of conversation in that first meeting is really sweet. This is really an opposites attract, where Hannah is there studying her master's. She's Palestinian and she's pretty buttoned up. Her family is strict, but lovingly so. And I just love how it really is a whirlwind between them. He is possessive and ready to lock it down. And it's also about her sort of unraveling her conditioning and trying to figure out how she can usher him into her life, being that her family has a certain prescribed way that they want her to live. I absolutely loved this. It had that like just like meant to be like quality between them despite their backgrounds being so disparate. I loved this so much. Next, you know, I've got to talk about that time I got drunk and needed a love potion at a demon. I love Kimberly Levin. This freaking series is everything. I mean, they're all under 200 pages. They don't take themselves seriously. There are heavier themes of enslavement in this first one, consent as well in the second one, and she just brings levity to those themes with a light comedic hand, and I absolutely love this. These feature one of my favorite fantasy characters, which is Alexis. She's been imbued by magic. Her soul is locked in a sword, and she's crude, crass, and giving all of these heroines a run for their money. If she were ever to be in corporeal form, she would take all of their men. This first one is featuring an alpha Fallon, who the heroine does accidentally help by breaking his curse and really revealing the true power behind this goddess that reigns over their land. And she goes on a very reluctant quest. And the same happens in the second book, where that is a fated mate's love potion with a werewolf that's actually a cinnamon roll that takes notes from her romance novels. I loved it so much. But what I love about this series is that all of the heroines are reluctant to fall. They are not checking for love. Okay, I can relate. I read a lot about it. They read a lot about it, but they're not expecting it to happen in their lives. And I just love the quests. I love the journey. I love the side characters. It's absolutely hilarious. And I have so much fun with these. So there's also a Christmas novella. I'm going to throw that out there. I will be giving you an extensive like holiday novella rep video, but this is a great series to jump up on because there's two, also the Christmas novella, and they're short and fun. Next, I do want to talk about, I'm going to pretend like I didn't drop my entire stack. Okay, Quarterback Sneak by Baylin Crow. I picked this up because Charles from Books on Stereo specifically said that for the page length, there was a lot of plot. That's exactly why I picked it up, and I absolutely agree. Since then, I've read this entire series. They're all on KU. I highly suggest you pick them up. Obviously, they're sports romances. This is following Rush and Torin. We get a prologue with them when they're in high school, and I loved how they're really in sync on and off of the field, and ironically, they are true partners in life. And I will say we're getting an only gay for you trope up in here when it comes to Torin's feelings for Rush. Rush has been out for a while, and we do have a moment of exploration between them that could lead to more, but it doesn't because of life really hitting for Rush. And so Torin decides to just be there for him as a friend. But when we cut to them being on the same team at university, quickly we learn that Torin feels some type of way about being friend-zoned, and now he's sort of baiting and goading Rush, which Rush doesn't know what to make of this. And I love how they're both mutually pining. Everything seems heightened by their feelings, and they're trying to discern whether or not what they're reading into the situation is actually happening, all while not wanting to ruin their relationship. And Rush doesn't want to be another experiment. I loved how they were sneaking around in this. I love because they are friends. This is a friends to lovers, and because of their background and history. I really felt like that helped with the development of their romance, and I just loved this so much. And there are real issues going on externally within this, so I highly suggest that you pick it up. Like I said, the entire series is chef's kiss. And let's see, I want to mention Blood and Vows by Kate Easton. This is a fantasy Bloody Mary retelling, fated mate story by way of a blood debt. I'll just say that Elizabeth knows nothing about. Okay, she's recently lost her mother. She was her caretaker and found out that her boyfriend has been sleeping with her best friend. So she's in the part of town where her mother begged her to never go because it is rumored to have fantastical beings. And so she's there at a pub drinking, and she stumbles across Marius in a very interesting way and learns of her fate in this new world that she does not want to be a part of. And what I really liked about this, because I'm going to keep his identity sort of concealed because I think it's a fun reveal. I liked this theme, but this is not insta-lovey, okay? He is more hell-bent on claiming what he's due, and he's possessive based on principle. That's really how they start. And she is reluctant. And we're also learning about this world and how it works through her eyes. So she serves as an entry point, and I really enjoyed that. There are all kinds of creatures. We start out in a world that's akin to ours, and, you know, we're moving places, okay? We're seeing things. And I really like how he is sort of fighting his attraction to her. Also how he can see things through her eyes because everything's new and he's lived for centuries. So I kind of like how they came together slowly in this one, and I'm very excited about the book that's coming out in 2023 because I think that this is a great start. I think it covers a lot of ground, and I was here for it. Like, I was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end. Highly suggest it for the month of October. So loved this, and I want to wrap up with A Promise of a Kiss by Casey Bateman. This is a historical novella set in Egypt that I absolutely loved. The heroine, Lady Hester, is obsessed with all things archaeology. She's also a cartographer, and so she's traveling. She's unmarried. She's free, okay? Until the hero is sent to retrieve her. He is a second son. He's back from the war. He's short on funds, and his great aunt asks him to go retrieve her because she's worried about her safety. And he does not want to do this because she's pretty headstrong and he knows it's going to be a task. But I mean, the aunt throws a lot of money at him. So he goes. And what I love about this is the banter between them. I mean, they get under each other's skin. I loved the dialogue in this book. Also, this is full of adventure because soon after that, she finds this like ancient artifact that a lot of dangerous people want. And so they are on the move. I mean, we're in tombs, we're freaking on a sea voyage, we're doing all kinds of stuff in this book. It even has like the fate of the world is saved by the end sort of plot. And I had so much fun with it. The mutual pining was so good as well. It's heated. And again, this is like an adventure tale. I absolutely loved this and I definitely recommend it. It does a lot for 120 pages. So I think I will end it here in terms of my list. Again, I will have a full video that just will be dedicated to novellas in addition to my normal TBR video in the month of October. But I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you can consider subscribing and sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.